Mr. President, this morning the Associated Press reported that Iraq war contractor Kellogg Brown & Root has sued the federal government to pay the $85 million in damages KBR owes soldiers sickened because of KBR's negligence. This case started in 2003 when members of the Oregon National Guard were assigned to provide security for contractors from KBR in Iraq at the Carmont Ali water treatment facility. These soldiers and others were exposed to dangerous levels of chemicals, including sodium dichromate that contains hexavalent chromium, one of the most carcinogenic chemicals on Earth. A group of the exposed soldiers sued KBR based on the evidence indicating KBR managers were aware of the presence of the dangerous chemicals but failed to warn the soldiers working in and around the plant. A jury recently agreed that KBR was negligent and awarded the soldiers $85 million in damages. And more of the affected soldiers also have lawsuits pending, so the damage awards, in my view, are likely to increase significantly. However, a recently declassified indemnification provision in the contract between KBR and the U.S. military for work in Iraq passed all financial liability for misconduct from KBR to U.S. taxpayers, even in cases of, and I want to emphasize this, Mr. President, even in cases of willful misconduct by KBR. These provisions also provided for unlimited reimbursement of legal costs incurred by KBR. In effect, the company, KBR, was handed a blank check drawn on the American taxpayer. And yesterday, the company went to court to cash that check. My amendment would prevent DOD from putting the American taxpayer on the hook for the negligence and misconduct of contractors without notifying Congress. Our soldiers know when they sign up that they're putting their life on the line, but they expect their commanders and the contractors working beside them to not expose them to unnecessary risk. Both the DOD Inspector General and a jury have confirmed what Oregon soldiers and I and other members of the Oregon congressional delegation have been saying for years, that KBR failed to protect our soldiers from a known threat. We can't know if the fact that KBR had was a basic get-out-of-jail-free card and it caused them to be negligent. But what we do know is we shouldn't let this happen again. My amendment was debated as part of the last DOD authorization bill. And my understanding is that it was actually acceptable to both sides, but we weren't able to get it into the final bill. I hope now, Mr. President, especially in light of today's news, right over the wire services this morning, we can agree to include this amendment before more of our brave men and women in uniform are harmed by the actions of negligent contractors who then try to pass the buck to American taxpayers. Mr. President, again, I want to thank the chairman and thank Chairman Levin and his staff for their help, and I look forward to working with them particularly on this amendment here this afternoon. With that, Mr. President, I yield the floor.